Hello, everybody. I'm Harvey Silverman, and welcome to another episode of National Golf Course Owners Association Golf Business Live Tech Talks. Today, we're going to take you into the world of virtual reality. We have an exciting show today. I think it's really going to be important for you golf course operators who are considering and been looking at golf simulators, which we had in our last show with Ken Reynolds from About Golf, but maybe you don't have the room or questioning the money. We may have an alternative for you, and it's all about these. So hang on one sec. Let me get this off so we can conduct a proper interview. And I have with me today the president of, it does wonders for your hair, doesn't it? The president of Golf Plus, James Wright. James, welcome to the show.
Harvey, thanks so much for having me.
I met James last year at the PGA show. When I go to the show now, I'm always wandering around looking for stories, and I happen to be walking through the apparel section because I love golf clothes. And I stopped at the Galvin Green booth because there were people there with a kind of a golf handle and the goggles on and enjoying playing a game, playing golf on St. Andrews, I think, wasn't it? Didn't you have St. Andrews set up there?
Yeah, it was really fun. We have St. Andrews in the game. And so we ended up joining Galvin Green. They had an interesting idea to have people playing virtual reality golf in the rain. So it felt like you were in the middle of a storm, but you were wearing Galvin Green's latest line of rain gear, which was keeping you nice and dry.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. So anyway, I hadn't really known much about Golf Plus up till then, but watching everybody, and I stood there for probably 30 minutes watching different people play this game and really enjoying it. I mean, they were having a great time doing it, and it just struck me after having walked across the convention floor from where all of the simulator companies were. I started wondering, could this be something that golf course operators could implement into their business rather than a full installation of a simulator? But before we get to that, James, give us a little background on Golf Plus, how it came to be, and with all the publicity you've had and some major name investors, it sounds like you've really accelerated the business from when you started, in 2017, 2018?
Yeah, exactly. It all started back then with something completely different. So it's been a really interesting journey. And I think it kind of goes to show kind of the entrepreneurial journey where sometimes you find something that's really interesting and you keep pulling at the string and you never know exactly where it's going to lead you. But our founder actually was at he was at a game development company working on a lot of mobile projects, and back in the early 2010s ended up working on an augmented reality project for the founder of 1-800-CONTACTS, where he was experimenting with a technology that would allow you to scan your face with an iPad and see what different glasses look like on your head. And so back in 2011, that was pretty groundbreaking stuff, and they debuted it at TED. It's actually implemented in a lot of different glasses companies these days, but really kind of triggered years of interest in like just the possibilities of what you can do within augmented and virtual reality. And fast forward to 2017, and our founder was a lifelong golfer and happens to be a really talented developer. And so one day was out on a golf course here in Austin, one of the munis here in kind of downtown area. And as the story goes, he hit just about every single green and missed every single putt. And so, in a turn which I would not personally be capable of doing, decided to go home and build himself a virtual caddy application. He was like, you know what, like based on the same technology I built the glasses project on, it would definitely be possible for me to scan a green and show myself the line to the hole. And so he built something in his free time called Golf Scope, which allowed you to take your phone out, scan a green, and it would show you the line to the hole. And got excited enough about it to quit his day job and to go in full time and start with that. And so we began back as Golf Scope Inc. In the augmented reality green reading game, and spent several years doing that. The difficulty with that application is it's technically cheating. So it's frowned upon if you're pulling your phone out on every hole. And we're all, the listeners here are all golfers, but It's never great when someone's got their iPhone in their hand the whole time you're out on a golf course. You want to be out there enjoying yourself, and not kind of tethered to some app. And so knew he was onto something, but just kept pulling at the string. Built a mobile putting game using the same physics and kind of the learnings from that augmented reality app that he had built. And then when the initial Quest came out, was able to kind of marry those two things to create a putting experience within virtual reality, which we called Pro Putt. We were introduced to Topgolf around the same time, and built a Topgolf venue. And so this is in kind of early 2020, sorry. And all of this basically just goes to say we launched Golf Plus in November of 2021, but it was on the back of 3-4 years of really exploration within augmented reality, putting physics, and then building a Topgolf game to allow us to experiment with full swing. And so it all came together in November of 2021 when we launched Golf Plus on the Quest store on the Meta Quest 2, which is the first virtual reality device that really started to reach a mass consumer audience. Before that, it was hundreds of thousands or maybe a couple of million people that had VR headsets in the world. And with the Quest 2, we had a $300 headset that was not tethered. It was portable and had really kind of powerful computing resources. The headset that you have there is a Quest 2 that came out in 2020. It allowed us to reach a much broader audience. And so that was really when things started to hit a different stride for us.
Let me ask you a quick question, a little bit off the subject. I'm playing golf tomorrow with NGCOA CEO Jay Karen. Do you still have that iPhone green reading thing available? I could probably use it.
We've got it. It's still functional in the background, so maybe I can talk to Ryan and we can kick you a special copy. But yeah, we're thinking about what we want to do with that going forward.
So people have caught on to this. I saw a couple of the videos, and one of the first questions I had, and anybody else would have, is how realistic is the golf in virtual reality?
Yeah, it's so just, I guess, to tell my personal story, because I'm an avid user. I grew up in the New York area on a golf course. My first job was as a caddy. I grew up behind Sleepy Hollow Country Club up in about an hour north of New York City, which is just a fantastic place if anyone's had the chance to get out there. But fell in love with the game of golf, but ended up going into finance. So I spent 8 years at Goldman Sachs on Wall Street, selling structured products, and then moved down to Austin to pursue something more entrepreneurial, and ended up finding my way into a virtual reality company. With the advent of the first Quest, there was a company called Wind Reality that built a baseball training solution, which was really my first time in headset. And what jumped out there is that with this new virtual technology, it worked extremely well for if you were a stationary experience. And so most games, when you look at console video gaming, what would have been really successful are the Maddens and NBA 2Ks, FIFA, kind of large team sports that are played on an extremely large field of play. But all of a sudden, within VR, something that you could do in your living room or an office, kind of a defined area, you really felt like you were out on a baseball field, and you could simulate at-bats in a really realistic way. And so as someone who grew up on a golf course, my mind immediately jumped to golf, that for the same reasons, you could be in your kind of stance and transporting kind of from shot to shot in a way that would be fully immersive, that you absolutely can't get from a console video game. And so my journey with Golf Plus started actually as a customer. Ryan, and it was a team of 5 people here in Austin, launched the full course Golf Plus experience. And as a golfer and as someone who in the 2010s, I was in New York City, I spent tons of time at 5-iron golf on the simulator side of things, kind of seeing that as it initially launched from the first location. And the huge light bulb moment for me is when I got in for the first time in Golf Plus, it completed the golf experience. And so unlike simulator golf, you were inside of it, first of all. But once you got inside of about 50 yards, it felt like you were over that chip and over that putt. And so you can see the green, you feel like you are standing on the green, and it replicates it in a way that simulator golf is entirely incapable of doing. And so I fell in love with it immediately as a consumer. And it's been amazing to see over the last 2.5 years, people, I can tell you that it feels realistic, but we've got 1.5 million players around the world who can kind of vouch for the fact that it really is, it's a pretty compelling golf experience.
So is it realistic enough to make it an adequate tool for practicing? If you can't get outside to a range, or, I've got a net in my backyard, if I'm just in my house and want to practice whatever, chip shots, short wedge, half wedges, things like that, is it realistic enough to be an adequate substitute for real live hitting ball practices?
Yep. Yeah. So I guess just to be very clear, like there are limitations, but I mean, the answer is yes. And I use it as a tool 100%. It's making me a better golfer. But just to kind of showcase what the experience is, you let off with your headset on, you put this headset on, and you hold a controller. And so it isn't exactly the same as holding a golf club where the head is as far away from you as it is. You're not making contact with a real golf ball. You're holding this, and there's a virtual club that extends from it. We collect all of the same data that a simulator would in terms of exactly the position of that club head. We collect face angle at impact, club path through the entire golf swing. And we captured it at extremely accurate rates. So there's tons of frames being captured throughout the entire action. With that said, so there is a limitation that you're not hitting a golf ball, and the weight is a little bit different than a golf club is. Our user base is extremely broad. We're a very accessible product in a way that green grass golf isn't and simulator golf isn't. Mm-hmm. And so we've been able to pull in a really interesting subset of people where about 1/3 of our audience are folks that have never played golf before. And then 2/3 of our audience are golfers. And so folks that play at least a little bit, with a lot of them being core. And so it's resonating with everything from your committed scratch golfer to folks that have never played before. A lot of the game of golf is played between your ears. And I think when it comes to learning the fundamentals of the golf swing, when it comes to understanding your way around a golf course, and mentally going through a round of golf, there's nothing better than to get as many reps as humanly possible. I played 6 rounds of golf yesterday, and I wasn't trying to play a lot of golf within Golf Plus. And we're hosting a tournament this week on the old course at St. Andrews. And so it's my favorite course in our game, in part because I could play it 10 times in one day in Golf Plus. And the whole time I'm thinking about where I want to position myself through the round of golf. It's extremely valuable training from that perspective. But sorry, it's a long answer, but there's a ton of current application for how I think it can make you a better golfer, particularly from the person who's young, first time to golf, going from kind of a 35 handicap to a 10 handicap. It dramatically accelerates that curve. There are limitations for the scratch golfer trying to get better at the game just because of the weight and ball limitations. But there are also tons of things we can do because we're capturing every single piece of information on your golf swing and the stats while you're playing golf. So things like strokes gained, everything that you get from Arcos, you can get in Golf Plus for your virtual rounds for free. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, we're just scratching the surface there, but it's going to continue to evolve.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, our producer, Harry, is nearly a scratch golfer, but this might be an alternative for him at home when he doesn't have time to get up to Pine Valley or Quail Hollow, where he typically plays and loves to drop those names. But anyway, I'm anxious to see Harry next week and watch his swing. So again, with what the game is showing you from a practice standpoint, is it also giving you things like ball speed, swing speed, spin rates, things like that?
Yeah, spin rates, angle of attack, ball speed, club head speed. We have all this information, and so
yeah,
it really
really everything that a personal launch monitor would give you.
Yeah, exactly. And so we have a kind of a home built physics system, which that's where those years that we spent from 2017 to 2021, kind of obsessing over the golf swing, both from a kind of putting physics to full swing, was extremely important. And we overhauled our whole physics system actually last year. and trained it on hundreds of thousands of real shots. And so it feels realistic. We're constantly trying to make it feel even more and more realistic based on those inputs. But yeah, so all those things are things we're capturing. And then I mentioned kind of the strokes gained analytics, what's really incredible by having all this information in a virtual environment. We have it for every single swing. So we don't need people to put a sensor on their club. We don't need people to go through all these high friction things that are involved with green grass. We digest it in the system. We have to in order to do what we do. And so we actually took over the last 2.5 years, I mentioned we have 1.5 million players. We have a couple 100,000 players on a monthly basis. And we've had 2.3 billion shots hit in the game over these 2.5 years. And so
2.3 billion.
2.3 billion. And yeah, I think we'll do over 1 billion shots in 2024. And what's really interesting, even though the swing is different, it's not exactly the same as green grass golf. But when we look at those 2.3 billion shots, it actually maps extremely closely to what you'd expect in green grass. And so we were able to put together from different lies and different distances what our expectation was. Because we have thousands and thousands of shots from each of those conditions, we can see exactly what average proximity is. Around putting, we have tons of data about how often people are making 5-footers versus 8-footers versus 25-footers. And so we do have everyone, if you just create an account on our site, we're giving you shot by shot strokes gain analytics on everything that you do. So you can understand your strengths and weaknesses. And so again, we're digesting not only things like spin rate and ball speed, but we're digesting an enormous amount of data about kind of behavior on a golf course.
So once you're in the game, how do you get a set of clubs? Do you have in-game purchases for certain brands of clubs, types of clubs? I mean, can I go in and buy my set of Ping G425 irons and hybrids?
Yeah, so you can't buy Ping yet. We don't have Ping in the game. We do have Callaway, TaylorMade, and PXG equipment currently live on the platform, but we're having a bunch of conversations with OEMs to bring additional equipment. We have decided we don't want it to feel pay to win within our platform. We want it to be a level playing field, and so those are at the moment it's cosmetic, but it is surreal when you look down and you see a stealth driver or a PXG iron, and when you pick it up, you can twirl it around, and it looks exactly like the real thing. You even get reflections off the back of your driver head, so you can pull it up and look at what's behind you. So yeah, we do have real equipment in the game, and we want to continue to invest in making that feel as realistic as possible. And then on the course side of things, I guess just to back up in our business model, we only build the software. So we have a small team that is focused entirely on the software platform. We sell the game for $30. And so you have to buy a headset, which costs between $200 and $500, depending on which model you want. Right. But then you can get the game for $30 and you can play as much golf as you want to in that game. We provide 3 free courses, which are fictional, ones that we have designed ourselves. We have a full practice zone. You can do any number of practice games. We have a Topgolf venue, which is a realistic Topgolf Las Vegas experience. And then we have tournaments on a daily and weekly basis that people can compete in. You don't need access. But we do charge. We have 21 real world golf courses in the platform now, and we're releasing more than one a month now. So we have invested heavily in a course design team where we did, I think, 3 courses our first year. We did 8 courses last year. We're going to do 15 or more this year. And so in order to buy those courses, it's a $10 DLC for the vast majority of them. Mm-hmm. And we have a membership now that the pile is so large. We have a membership that's $10 a month or $79 a year, and you get access to everything in the whole Golf Plus platform. So that's the business model there.
Okay. And that includes, you choose the clubs you want to use, or is that also an in-game purchase? If I want to.
The clubs are, so we charge credits for them, but you earn credits as you play. And so just by playing more, you unlock different sets of those Callaway, TaylorMade, PXG clubs. And so, yeah, no additional purchase required for those. And there are default clubs that you can choose across those manufacturers when you get started.
Right. Okay. So as I envision this, and I have a couple clients, I also do marketing consulting besides doing the things I do for NGCOA. And a couple of my clients, one of them has a very small golf shop. He's got a few nets where you can go warm up, has no place at all other than having to build a new building to put a simulator, let alone more than one simulator. I'm thinking, okay, this could be kind of a cool thing for him to kind of carve out a corner of his golf shop to have that in a little nook or cranny, whatever you want to call it, where people could use this. My other client has TrackMan Range, which has been extremely popular. It has a huge range, but it's in a climate where in the wintertime, it's not that comfortable to go out on the range, but this might be, again, an alternative that they could carve out room, whether it's in their restaurant and bar or in their golf shop. And they also have a private training area with a putting lab. So have you approached this at all? Have you seen any golf course operators adopting this as an alternative to installation of a full simulator?
Yeah, for sure. It's so our product, it's adjacent and very similar to simulator golf, except within the experience at any given point in time, there's one person who's wearing it, and so it is social in a way that people don't quite grasp. So you can play with people they could be anywhere around the world. You and I could enjoy a round together, even though we're in completely different cities. I play golf with people in South Africa and Scotland and the UK.
Okay, but hold on one second.
Yeah.
If the golf course had four of these,
yeah,
four people could play together.
They could play together. Yeah. So you could do that within the same within the same venue. It's absolutely something that if you have a simulator on a golf course or you have a space for it, you could absolutely buy a headset or a couple of headsets, have them hanging on hooks there for people to use. It resonates particularly with a younger audience. And so particularly if our average player is 35 years old, but there are things that you can do in Golf Plus that you can't do on green grass or simulator golf courses. And so I've seen a couple of courses that have them hanging on a hook in a simulator bay. And it's just another tool, particularly for youth golf, if you're trying to get someone excited about playing using one of these. It's the best use for the headset, to be like completely transparent, is for at-home use. It's doing so in the privacy of your home. It only costs the $200 compared to tens of thousands of dollars for a sim. And so we believe that this is the way that golf is going to get in the hands of millions of people around the world, and they can play whenever they want, wherever they want. And so the primary use case is going to be, we envision a world in which most golfers will have a headset. And so that will be what you have at home. It's really an extension of the club into all of those different places, particularly if we are able to get the course into the platform, which I can talk through what that looks like. But that's kind of the primary use for Golf Plus and the gap that it's filling. But that's not to say that you could absolutely have a couple of headsets on site as another option for playing in the winter, playing indoors, doing things that you can't do on your simulator or range. So there is an in-venue use for it as well.
Would you have, so the investment for a golf course would be, around $1,000 for four headsets roughly. Would you have a special licensing for the game for a golf course where the users, their golfers using these wouldn't have to buy the game themselves? It would just be available to them through the golf course login, I guess?
Yeah. So it's we're a consumer product. There's nothing we can do to prevent someone from buying it and setting up an account and playing. So we have one model, and that's the current base game. And so if a course wanted to go and buy one and set it up where multiple people could come through and use it, it's one size fits all. And so they could still do so within that same $30 for the game and $79 a year for all the courses.
Okay. Is there a possibility of using it and creating virtual leagues?
Yeah, totally. There are a bunch of leagues currently running. So Discord is a really vibrant gaming platform, similar to, if people are familiar with Slack for enterprise. That's what we use here at Golf Plus. Discord's kind of similar to that, but for gaming communities. And there are dozens of VR leagues, and people have sorted into different age groups. There are women's leagues, where folks are setting up tournaments and games. We're at the moment, we don't have leagues in platform, but that's absolutely something that we're looking into. And so in the future, there could be a world in which a club sets up a club specific league. And to what I was saying about, I envision a world in which, like, most golfers in the very long run will have one of these. There could be tournaments happening within that membership. There could be lessons, the connectivity between an instructor and their players, that's extending virtually in addition to green grass.
Sure.
But yeah, it's not built in platform. So you kind of, at the moment, it's a manual thing, but there are dozens of them out there where people are doing it.
Got it. Very good. So for our members out there who are tuning in and have been curious about how to add another simulation element to your golf course, to your club, private club, public, doesn't really matter. This looks like the right way to go, short of actually doing the investment and the installation of a full bore simulator. Also be much quieter to use. It's funny because a former client of mine, a municipal golf course, bought a used simulator and carved out a corner in their golf shop. And that lasted about 3 months before the employees said, look, we're tired of the thwack, thwack, just all day long in the golf shop. And the customers were complaining and they shut the thing down. You're not hitting real golf balls. You're as close to it as you possibly can. And that's another question. I asked about the equipment. What about golf balls? Can you choose the type of golf ball that you're using in the game?
Yeah, you can. So those same OEMs that I just mentioned, we have balls for each of them. We have a bunch of other customized balls. We have some for the courses in the game. But yeah, you can choose your ball. I prefer one of the soccer ball forms that has kind of, I think they're like the TPX TaylorMade has some of them. And it just looks so great, particularly in VR when it's rolling kind of end over end. But yeah, you can customize that.
Do you have Titleist yet?
We don't have Titleist yet.
So you don't have Titleist, you don't have Ping. That pretty much takes care of my bag.
Well, yeah. Hopefully, we would love to get them in. So hopefully over time. But yeah, for those brands, like in the same way that I mentioned these golf courses, like it's a very large audience. We have players in 200 countries around the world, and a lot of them are new to the game of golf. And so we consider this something that's extremely complementary to green grass. I don't think I said this yet, but just to be very clear, our team is obsessed with golf. We have 6 of us here in Austin, 30 around the country. And the one thing that kind of unites us is that we play a lot of green grass golf. And we believe that this is extremely additive to it. Nothing about what we're doing is meant to be taking people off of the golf course and only doing this. Sure. The more that we play VR golf, the more that we get the bug and we want to get out there and play rounds. And so in the same kind of spirit, so many people pick up a club for the first time. They hadn't tried golf because it was too expensive. They don't have a golf course near them. We have players in several countries that don't have a single golf course. A couple countries in Africa where there's literally no way for them to play golf, and we've provided a way for them to do so. But our hope is that they're going to experience brands, they're going to experience golf courses, they're going to fall in love with this game that we all have fallen in love with. And so that's the way we've taken it to the different club manufacturers. And for golf courses, we now have 21 courses in the game, and it's everything from the old course at St. Andrews to Pinehurst No. 2, Pebble Beach, the Ocean Course at Kiawah Island, private clubs like Eastlake and Olympia Fields, and just an incredible rota of really, really high quality golf courses. And so we believe that it's additive for a public golf course. It's very easy to understand how it's additive. You have hundreds of thousands of people who are getting reps in on that golf course and just wanting to get out there and see it in person for the first time. Sure. But for private clubs as well, you're standing shoulder to shoulder with these places. And I think it is something that people are going to find is going to be increasingly important to kind of build awareness and prestige to your club, and to kind of have it out there in a global standing.
Well, this has been terrific, James, and I'm glad that we finally connected. It's been 7 months since Orlando, and I've been thinking about it ever since. So this is terrific, and I think it hopefully opens the eyes of people who watch this, and we get quite a bit of viewership. Viewership's been growing, and we thank everybody who tunes in once we get this posted. But it'll open some eyes, I think, for people saying, okay, maybe, for $1,000 roughly, I can try this at my course and see how it works, and add another element, keep people here, something that maybe they can use as a warm up, maybe sell more food and beverage. All those things kind of fall into line with having another amenity added to what the golf course already offers. Any last words for us, James? By the way, I didn't want to do any name dropping of the people that have now caught on to what you're doing and invested some of their own resources into it. I mean, we don't really need to talk about Steph Curry and Jordan Spieth and Rory McIlroy and Mike Trout and others, but if you want to talk about them, go ahead.
No, we have an incredible group of partners who are around the table supporting us. And as I mentioned, we're a group of people that are obsessed with golf, and we're really bought into the fact that this could be one of the most powerful things, I think, to really grow the game over the next decade, in a similar way that Topgolf and Simulator Golf did over the last couple of decades. So we took the story out 2 years ago, and we told it to a bunch of different investors, and we were able to get an incredible lead in Jim Breyer, who was on the board of Facebook for 15 years. He led the first institutional round in Facebook, which owns Oculus. Mm-hmm. And so we're a distributed platform on Meta. And then an incredible group of people in the game of golf, where we went to Rory McIlroy and Steph Curry and Mike Trout and Tom Brady and all the people that you mentioned, as well as people who love the game of golf and have kind of given their life to it. People like Jimmy Dunn. And they really bought in. We got them in headset, and they got to experience it for the first time. And they bought into the fact that this is a way that we could bring golf to the next generation. And so feel extremely grateful to have that group of investors around the table. And we'll see where we can take it. But it's, as I've kind of said, I think this is extremely early days. We're 2.5 years into this, but I'm sure everyone's more familiar with what's happened on the simulator space. But we believe that it's going to continue to accelerate in the future, and it's going to be a really good thing for the game of golf. But I assume that a lot of people here haven't been in headset before. Or it might be something that you're not super familiar with. And so, my email is james@golfplusvr.com. If you're listening to this, feel free to reach out to me. It's been great meeting more and more people in the golf business, but happy to talk more.
Terrific. Thank you very much, James. I'm looking forward to trying this. If I can get, the grip and go in here, buy the game, $30 seems to me to be remarkably inexpensive for what you're offering. And I got to get this right side up. There we go. And I'll get look around to make sure I can get the right attachment for my eyesight problems and give it a shot and see how it works. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hope folks are able to check it out. It's, again, I said, I played 6 rounds of golf yesterday. I played 2 so far today. I'm about to probably play another one right after we hang up here, but,
how long does it take you to play an 18-hole round of golf?
About 20 minutes if you're by yourself, but you can play with buddies, and it could take upwards of an hour depending on the level of banter and how the match seems to be going. Between 20 minutes and an hour.
20 minutes. Wow. Okay. James, thank you very much. Hopefully we'll find a way to get you to one of the NGCOA events. We have the big multi-course owners and resort retreat next week in Monterey. Probably a little too late to get you there to meet some people, but we have the Golf Business Conference coming up in January of 25, and probably a technology conference also in 25, and that might be the place to to have you there. That give you another year plus of development time and add more golf courses, and would be a lot of fun to have you there. So we'll talk.
I would love that. Would be awesome.
Okay, everybody. Thank you very much. That's our virtual reality episode of Golf Business Live Tech Talks. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Hope that if you already have one of these, you might want to take a look at getting that game and buying the attachment that goes with this, and give it a shot. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks, everybody. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.